Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joe. I am the digital astronomer. Christmas is right around the corner. And this week I'm going to do two special videos. First of all, today I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you should buy your child a telescope rather than an iPhone for Christmas. And then on Friday, I'm going to give you some specific recommendations on beginner telescopes, telescopes that will get your child involved in the hobby and that will be usable for the kid. All right, so stick around for just a moment. I'm going to come back and give you my 5 reasons why you should buy your child a telescope for Christmas rather than an iPhone. All right, let's go down the list. On my number 5 reason why you should buy your child a telescope for Christmas rather than an iPhone is that introducing your child to astronomy will open their minds to the immensity and the majesty of the universe. Quite frankly, most people have no idea of the incredible things that they can see in the night sky. They've really, we live in a light polluted world where you really don't get a great view of the sky almost wherever you live, unless you live out in Wyoming or way out in the woods somewhere. You don't get to see the incredible things that are in the night sky. But with a telescope, suddenly all of those things are right there at your fingertips. We get so caught up in the day to day activity, the mundane nature of life that we forget how incredible of a universe that we live in. Astronomy can change this. Now, I promise you that an iPhone can't do that. An iPhone will show you, what so and so has just put on TikTok. Big deal. That doesn't mean anything. But when you can look out at the vastness and the beauty and the wonder of the universe, that's incredible. That can be a transcendent experience for you. And nobody's ever had a transcendent experience with an iPhone. I'm sorry, maybe Steve Jobs did, but no one else ever has. Astronomy uh, gives you the opportunity to look through an eyepiece or look through a camera, and you'll be able to see things like distant star clusters. You'll be able to see galaxies and nebulae, and these things will show you the incredible just wonder of the universe that we live in, and that creates a sense of awe. One of the things I have 2 children. Both of them are older now. One's in high school, the other one has graduated college and now is a teacher. But one of the things that I see in kids today is that they have just lost the sense of awe. Astronomy can help with that. We've lost that in our culture. Technology puts so much at our fingertips, but it really doesn't let us go out and discover it and experience. And we lose that sense of awe. Astronomy changes that. Every time I've had, I'll sit out in my driveway and set my telescope up, and every once in a while some kids will go by, and occasionally they'll come over and they'll look at the picture on the laptop, or if I'm looking through the eyepiece, they'll look through the eyepiece. And every time, even if they're looking at just the most mundane thing like the moon, something we take for granted all the time that's up there, they're amazed by it. And so that sense of just the immensity and majesty and awe of the universe. Nothing can top that quite like astronomy can. Second of all, astronomy, the number 2 reason why you should buy your child a telescope instead of an iPhone for Christmas is it will allow your child to experience the joy of discovery. Now, again, there's not really anything you can discover with an iPhone. I mean, yeah, you can go search Wikipedia and you can go find out what's going on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or all that garbage, but none of that is really that the same as discovering something. I'll never forget. I got my first telescope when I was maybe around 11 or 12, maybe a little bit younger than that. But I remember setting it up, and the first thing that I looked at was the moon. And the first time that I really got in focus and could look at some of the craters on the moon, it was just incredible to me. I remember I was going along and I found a little canyon. It was probably like the Rupus Recta or something on the moon. I'm not sure which canyon it was now, but saw it for the very first time, and I thought I discovered something. Probably the greatest example of that is I was cruising around the night sky one night with that telescope trying to find something, and I came across the first globular cluster that I've ever seen. I'm convinced today that it was probably the Hercules cluster. I'm not 100% sure, but it was a star cluster. And I'll never forget, I thought for a minute I was the first person in the world to have ever seen it. And then, of course, I got my little star chart out, the little book. I found it, figured out, it's a globular cluster. It's been discovered before. But the joy of coming across that and getting it focused and seeing it, that's an incredible experience. And children today, they've lost that sense of discovery. But you can help their child rediscovering that by not buying them an iPhone. Okay, buy them a telescope, and I promise you, if you'll work with them and you'll follow my advice here over these next two videos, it's going to be a joyous experience for you. You're going to love it. And your child's going to get that joy of discovery. And you know what? They might discover something, because all of the time, amateur astronomers discover things like new comets, new asteroids. They might find something out there that nobody has ever seen before. So the joy of discovery is something that they should get. The third reason you should buy your child a telescope rather than an iPhone for Christmas is that astronomy will teach your children to solve problems. Now, listen, astronomy is not easy. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you, all you do is you open up the tripod, you stick the thing on top, you press a couple of buttons, and voila, you're looking at the night sky. That's not how it works. It's hard. It's difficult. It's something that you really have to put some effort and some time into. But and by the way, every night that you're out there, you will have to solve some problem. There's not a night that I go out that I don't take my telescope out and set it up, even with the most routine observations. The things that I've done a million times, almost every time, there'll be small little problems to solve. Now, this is a good thing. This is a good thing for your child to learn, because here's one of the great problems is in addition to being an amateur astronomer and a full-time pastor in a church. Um, I also teach at a college and part-time at a college. And one of the things I discover about many of my college students is they have no clue how to solve a problem. They run up on a problem and they immediately want to Google it. And if they can't find the answer on Google, immediately they give up. Astronomy will fix that in your child, because what will happen is they will have to go through the process, and you can teach them this. As a parent, you'll be out there with them, you'll be helping them through this, and you will teach them how to logically and systematically work through and solve problems. And that is an important skill in life. Because every day of life as an adult, you have to solve a problem, right? You've got to solve all kinds of issues. Astronomy will help teach your child how to do that. They'll be better college students. They'll be better high school students. They'll be better people as a result of you not buying them that silly iPhone for Christmas that they'll sit there and they will watch dumb emoji. The iPhone is ruined communication. It's ruined communication. What we're back to in our society, we're back to speaking with emojis. How silly that is. But your child, because you didn't do that, you bought them a telescope. They'll know how to solve problems. They'll know how to communicate, because I promise you, if they get into astronomy, they're going to be joining some forum like Cloudy Nights or one of the other astronomy forums, and they're going to be interacting with other astronomers, and they're going to have to communicate in actual language, and it's going to teach them, and they're going to be so much better off as functioning adults, because you didn't buy them that iPhone. You bought them a telescope on a Christmas in 2020, and you changed their life. All right, number four. The number four reason why you should buy your child a telescope instead of an iPhone for Christmas is that astronomy is a tremendous way to spend time with your kids. I'll tell you two quick stories. One of my fondest memories is when I got my first telescope. My dad didn't know anything about astronomy. Okay. I'm not even sure he knew what the word meant, but they bought me a little telescope. My mom and dad bought me this little telescope. And I remember wanting to go out and use it. Well, I'd never really used a telescope, and I had a couple little books about astronomy, and they knew I was interested in it, and so I read up on them. And one of the things that I knew was I had to get the little finder scope in line with the main scope. And I'll tell you about that on Christmas Day. I'm going to post a picture now that you've bought your child or a video that's going to be titled something along the line, now that you bought your child a telescope, what do you do? And one of the first things you have to do is line up in a line the finder scope with the main scope. I didn't know how to do that. My dad, because he had been a hunter, knew how to sight in a gun, which is a similar process, right? So he knew how to adjust the little adjustment screws on the finder scope. And we went out together, and he helped me get those two things lined up. Later that evening, we went out and we looked at the moon together. And I don't know that my dad ever looked through that telescope a second time. I don't know that he ever even knew that I was out there in the yard doing it on in the evenings after that. But I'll never forget that day. We had so much joy spending time together. And I love my dad, and we spent a lot of time together. But that was a very special memory. One of the things I've done with my own kids, and now see, in my own story, I was very into astronomy when I was in high school and early in college. And then after I got married and got busy with working in ministry and doing all the things of life, I kind of dropped it. I never really had the money to go back and to really get into it until just a couple of years ago. And I went out and I bought a new telescope, much better telescope, and I got back into it. So I never really had a telescope to introduce my kids to astronomy. But what we would do every once in a while is take out a pair of binoculars, especially, and this became a habit, a tradition in our family. Me and my kids would set out in the early fall to watch the Perseid meteor shower. We did that just about every year they've been in school. They may never know how much I enjoyed that because I got to spend time with them and I got to share something that I loved with them, and we got to experience this rather transcendent experience of watching space rocks fly through the atmosphere and burn up. And we would have so much fun doing that. That's the kind you can't replicate that on an iPhone. I know you can share pictures and you can FaceTime and blah 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 blah, but that's not real time. When you're out there with your kid in the night, okay, because you're not going to send little Johnny and Jane out there by themselves because you're a responsible parent. You're not going to send them out there alone in the dark to do this. You're going to be there with them, and it's great because you're going to build a relationship. You're going to build a stronger bond with them, and they're going to remember that their entire life. They're going to be better people because you didn't buy them an iPhone, you bought them a telescope, and they're going to remember all the time that you spent with them teaching them how to learn it. All right, number five. The fifth reason why you need to buy your child a telescope instead of an iPhone this year for Christmas is that astronomy is going to help your child to use technology while at the same time gaining all of the benefits that I just talked about. Now, I'm going to give you a piece of advice here. A lot of people are going to give, there's going to be a ton of these kind of videos by all of my buddies out there that make astronomy videos, and a lot of them are going to go with what I'm going to call the purist view. And the purist view says, listen, get as simple of a device as you possibly can, as simple as a telescope as you can. Teach them to use the old-fashioned star maps. Teach them to go out and jump from star to star to star and find the different objects manually. There is a benefit to that, okay? And I'm not going to deny that there is a benefit to that, but We live in a world where kids today are digital natives. That means they've grown up with the technology that people my age were introduced to later in life. So the first time I saw a computer, I was a teenager. The first time I saw a cell phone, I was almost 30. And I still don't know how to use a lot of the technology that's out there. But kids know it. And technology is a part of their life. So, one good way to introduce them to astronomy is to combine it with technology. And there are some wonderful computerized mounts, some free software that you can put onto your computer. Again, I'm going to do future videos. We'll talk about some of that and how you can get that set up more towards Christmas time and even thereafter. But what'll happen is because your child is mixing it, they can even use their cell phone, that devilish evil device that I've been railing about. They can even use that or a tablet to control the telescope. And they're going to love that. They're going to think that is an incredible thing. And what will happen is because they're combining that, you're going to get all of those previous benefits, but you're going to trick your child. And I know as a parent, you like to trick your children because I love to trick mine. And so if you can trick them into doing something beneficial for themselves and they still think they're doing something really cool because it involves technology, then it makes it fun. Not only that, but if you invest in a small little mount that they can put their cell phone on where they could take some pictures. Now, they're not going to take the kind of deep sky astrophotography that I do or that some of the other YouTube guys do, gals and gals. But they will be able to take some basic pictures of the moon, maybe a planet or two, with a little dedicated astroastronomy camera that they might want to add on a little bit later. And we'll talk about that later on, how to pick that, a small, simple camera that they could use. They could get some rudimentary pictures. And here's what will happen. They will love that. And then they're going to be the coolest kid in school. You know how you become the coolest kid in school? It's not date the prettiest girl. It's not date the quarterback of the football team. It is sharing a picture of the Orion Nebula on your Facebook page. That's how you become cool. That's how I became cool. That's how Dylan O'Donnell became cool. If you do that, you will be the coolest cat that has ever walked in your high school, and your kid will be that kid. Your kid will be more popular than the quarterback on the football team. He's going to be more popular than the lead scorer on the basketball team. She's going to be more popular than the head of the cheerleading program. You know why? Because she took a picture of the Orion Nebula. This kid went out and took a picture of the Great Globular Cluster in Hercules. Can you believe that? They're going to love. I mean, it's the key to popularity. It's the key to success in life. And I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy every second of it. All right. Now, next in this process is we're going to talk about what telescope to buy. So Friday, I'm going to post up my recommendations. Now, I'm going to caveat this already. These are my recommendations. You should do your research. You should think about it. Just don't take my word for it. But I'm going to tell you what I would do if I had a child and I was buying them a telescope. And I'm going to break that down into some price categories for you and help you to make that decision. But don't buy that kid an iPhone. Buy them a telescope. You'll change their life, and I promise you, you won't regret it. Thanks for tuning in today. Hey, if you enjoyed this, please do me a favor. This is really important. Would you click on subscribe? Subscribe to my channel, and then do another thing. Click on the little bell symbol so that you will get the notifications when I put up new content, like Friday when I put up that new video. You will get a word about it, and then you'll be able to watch it, and you'll know what to go out and buy. And you won't go to Walmart and buy some piece of garbage. You will know where to go and how to buy a really good telescope that your kid's going to love and cherish for the rest of their life. And it's going to be the thing that will revolutionize them. It's going to change everything about their existence if you get them that telescope. Now, there's another thing you could do to me for me. I would really appreciate if you would share this video, if you would post it on your Facebook page or your social media page. Help me spread the word. I'd like to build my channel and get more subscribers. And I know that's a rather selfish thing for me to ask you to do, but if you've enjoyed these, please do that for me and share it with your friends. Ask them to subscribe. And again, we will change the world one child at a time. We will put Apple out of business because they won't sell any more iPhones, but big telescopes will make all kinds of money because you're going to buy your kid a telescope this year for Christmas. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for tuning in. Just a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this video, please help support me by clicking on thumbs up and share. Thank you.